and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is good to have you here with us on Crystal One-on-One. We happen to be at the Kibo Lounge at the Machame Health Club in Naguru. Lovely spot. And today I'm excited about my guest. I have many questions for her. Now, she is a counselor, a marriage therapist, and of recent she's been talking about things to do with the bedroom, and a lot of people are like, oh my God, did she actually say that? I have Sharifah Namusisi joining me on Crystal One-on-One. Hello.
Hi, Crystal.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hi, you look so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And you're just vibrant and colorful.
Oh, thank you.
I love the green. I love the green.
Thank
and
you.
I love the shade.
Thank you, Crystal.
I think I have to start there
Okay.
because I've been enjoying your content. Let me just say. Thank you so much for talking about things that people are shy to say.
I know.
How is the response?
Terrible.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
At
Because
least
I
the
know now
biggest
people are
percentages.
looking at you as more of a sex therapist, but you
Right.
do so much.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I say it's terrible because it's not accepted. What I do is not accepted yet.
Oh.
Yes, people find it uncomfortable. Society has kind of made it a taboo. So yeah, in my inbox it's terrible. But people are showing me some love every now and then, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, for those who feel like, no, we need to talk about those things. Those who get it.
I find it interesting you say your inbox. I thought you were going to say maybe friends and family, because sometimes our people are the conservative ones. They're like, don't say those things.
Oh my God, no, no. My husband is supportive 101%. Because before I come up with the topic, I'm like, oh yeah, so tomorrow I'm talking about ABCD. And he's like, what do you need? I'm like, cool. So if he's cool and I know I'm within the confines of my religion, I'm good to go. The rest is background noise. I really don't care.
Thank you. The rest is noise.
Yes.
So you said in your inbox.
Yes.
But don't you have people reaching out to say like, oh my God, thank you, I'm going through that. I was wondering how to deal with it.
Well, the reason I did this in the beginning is because when couples come in, you realize there's a lot they don't know.
Okay.
So I felt like, okay, I can use my social media to actually educate people who cannot afford therapy, people who fear to come for therapy, people who fear to come for stuff like this. So in my WhatsApp inbox, that's where the negativity is.
Okay.
But on social media, people are on board. They just won't come out and say it.
Yeah.
Like, hi, cool, high five. But in my inbox, they're like, oh my God, you need to talk about this. They're even giving me topics. They're like, now, please talk about now this. Please ask this, please. And I'm like, okay, cool, I will.
Let me ask this.
Yeah.
Is it mostly women or do you have men as well?
Both.
Because I feel like men are probably following like really seriously.
Oh, men love me. Men love me. They're in my inbox like, oh, Hajat, Hajat this, Hajat that. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's okay. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good. But I've also come to realize that those who are actually in my inbox and negative about the whole thing are the ones society has taught that she's not supposed to talk about it. She's a Muslim woman, she's an African woman. She cannot tell us this. So I kind of don't blame them. It's what they've been taught.
So it's their perception of what a woman should be.
Right, yeah. So we shouldn't have the same opinions. That's okay. I think I've come to accept it and understand it. Yeah, but I know I'm helping a lot of people and they appreciate it.
You are.
Thank
So,
you.
Sharifah, I have to ask about the shades. You always seem to have them on.
Yeah.
And after I watched a few videos, I realized there must be a reason for it.
Right.
Yes.
You're
Is there...
Yeah, you're the only one who has asked in a nice way. So I kind of feel like it's okay to tell you.
What do other people say?
Oh my God, people come at me. I remember the first time I actually put out a video with my glasses on, a lady called me at 10 p.m. and told me, Madam, I'm a counselor and I'm here to ask you that, do you think you're being professional wearing those glasses? Before I answered, she told me, oh, you think it's swag? Well, you think you look good? Yeah.
Well, you do look good. Let's just go there, babe.
I know I look good. I know. So I was really offended because she kept going on and on. And she's like, you need to be professional. We need the audience needs to connect with you. What kind of counselor are you? So she was not the first person. People kept coming at me like, hey, if you don't put off your glasses, we need to understand what you're saying. And I'm like, understand what I'm saying. You don't have to see my ass to understand what I'm saying. So yeah, people have been coming at me, you know, in a not a nicer way, but I think I'm ready to share.
Okay.
Because it's personal, it's a little bit personal. Yeah, so I'm visually impaired.
Okay.
Yeah, I lost my sight in my left eye when I was in my Form 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so for the longest time, I've only had one eye to use, right? So it's grown a bit weaker. Yeah, so anything to do with light, I cannot handle. So as you know, when we're shooting, they're like lights everywhere, you know, the burning lights. So I'm always tearing, I'm always cleaning my eyes, I've tried to shoot with my normal glasses on, but it's not working. My eyes are red, I'm tearing. Yeah, so I decided if I want to do this, I need to find a solution. I'm not those people who are going to pity themselves, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So if there is a solution, I'm going to get a solution. And for me, glasses came in handy. So I decided to, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually thought it might be something to do with light.
Yeah, it is light.
There's some people who are incredibly sensitive to light.
That is me. Yeah, like,
There you go.
yeah, even when I'm recording on my phone, I cannot look at the screen when I'm recording because of the light.
Seriously, from the phone?
Yeah, so I kind of have to turn away and, record while and everyone is like, why are you not looking at the camera? And I'm like, yo, leave me alone.
You have your reasons.
Yeah, I have my reasons. And I think this should teach people to be kind. You don't know what people are going through, so just let people be. If I'm not
nice
offending
reminder.
anyone, right?
And just because things are done a certain way doesn't mean they always have to be done a certain way.
That is what I'm trying
because
to do.
It's the message that's the most important thing, right?
Thank you. I think that is why I'm here. Yeah, on my socials. We are used to doing things a certain way, and I've always been a rebel. You don't put me in a box.
Ooh.
Yeah, from way back.
Okay.
So I'm like, no, who said I'm supposed to do it in A, B, C, D? Who said? Where is it written? That's always been me. So yeah, I kind of felt like, look, if I'm going to do this, I need to stand my ground and, get out of the
So you've
box.
always been a rebel.
I have.
You know I'm going to ask about that. How was school? Where was school?
It was terrible. It was terrible. I get people, of course I have a story. Now that I'm a therapist, I kind of understand where that has all come from because you see, everything has to do with our childhood and where we come from and stuff like that. But for me, all these piercings that people see and stuff, I've not got them in adulthood. I got these things in my Form 1. Yeah. And
That far back.
exactly. And someone might think, "Kari kana kononefo," things like that. But I was a kid. What do you know about piercings in your Form 1, right? Nothing really. You're just being a kid, let me experiment, let me try this, let me try that. So for me, I've always been that child
Okay.
who didn't fit in with the cool kids, who didn't fit in with the nerds. I was always like neutral. The cool kids were with me, the nerds were with me. I was always that
You cool
kid.
people.
Yeah. I'm cool, I'm nerdy, I'm weird, anything you want it to come because I've always failed to fit in anywhere. Yeah, I don't fit in with the cool kids, I don't fit in. So I'm like, you know what? It takes too much work to try and be cool, to try and fit in with you guys. I'm just going to be myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's something on your WhatsApp profile. Is that your WhatsApp picture as well?
Yes.
The profile picture.
I have no desire to fit in.
Yeah.
Yes, I really don't. I don't. Even when I came on social media, everyone is telling you how you're supposed to do it. Try this, try that. You won't get followers if you don't do this. You won't get... And I'm like, I'm just here to be a counselor. I'm just here to teach. So I'm just going to teach. Like, it's too much work, and I don't want to do it.
So the rebellious spirit in you,
Yeah.
your family know you then very well.
Yes.
Was this like all the way from primary school, or did it start later in life?
I think it started in secondary.
Okay.
But even in primary, I was just looking at my pictures back in the day, and I'm like, oh my God, this was me in primary 7. I wish I had carried some with you. So I think it's always been me.
Okay.
Yes, and it just got worse, I think, after my incident. I think it was traumatic for me, and I'm just realizing it after I've grown up.
Okay.
Yeah, so kind of also my parents kind of let me do what I wanted to do because I was going through so much.
Oh.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Because I was going to ask, for many people, African parents are quite conservative.
Right.
So when you mentioned you got your piercings way back, most people I know get their piercings like the moment they leave home
I
or
know.
university or get their first job, they're like, you can't tell me anything anymore.
I know.
Now I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And this is way back. So you feel like your parents were a lot more tolerant?
Yes, they were. My dad is traveled, so I would like to think maybe that is why he didn't care so much. And my mom, all she cared about was good grades. Yeah, as long as you have good grades, she's like, you'd come back home and go like, Mom, I got another piercing. Report here, Gambachi. What is the report saying? Like, like she really, really didn't put so much emphasis on that. And I think that's why I am free to be myself because she never judged me. She let me be me. And my dad really... Yeah, if you're a good kid, cool. Get all your piercings. It never defined me. The way society lets, your appearance define you.
Yeah.
My parents never did that with me. So it kind of let me, fly. I just be myself.
And as a therapist, I'm sure you see how much all those influences, the things you're told, what you can do growing up, really leads to, adds to the person you become as an adult.
That is true. And I won't lie, I have actually struggled.
Okay.
As a therapist, I have struggled to kind of, I wanted to belong. When I started to do my work, I used to do it from home before lockdown. People would come to me, they didn't know how I look like, So it was easier to just come in and go like, oh, this is how you look like. Cool. Okay, yeah.
But we're already here.
Yeah, we're already here, so we can't really go back. But then lockdown came and I was thinking, how am I going to work? And my friend is like, we have Instagram, right? That was in 2020. And I'm like,
oh, wow.
That's too much work. I have to make videos. I have to make content. I can't do it. And she's like, then you're going to be broke. So, choose. So coming out, oh my God, the backlash. It was crazy.
And now we see you and it seems like you're doing this so easy.
I know. Because
there's always a starting point.
That's true. That's true. I think all I had to do was start and refuse to be put in a box and go like, look, I know what I'm giving is necessary, it's needed, and it is good. I know what I'm doing. I know what and I know it's needed out there. So I'm just going to keep doing it. You want to judge me by my appearance? That's on you. But if you listen to what I have to say, you might pick a leaf or two. So I think I'm stuck there.
Okay. Okay. So becoming a therapist, is that what you wanted to do from way back? Did you fall into it? How did that happen?
Yesterday when I was posting about the HIV/AIDS topic, someone asked me, how do you have so much knowledge on the topic? And then I went through my certificates back in the day, and I remembered I was the chairperson anti-AIDS club in my Form 6 at school.
Oh.
And I'm like, so maybe I didn't just fall into this thing. And back at school, I used to be called the love doctor. If you wanted to write a letter to your boyfriend, I was your guy. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, so maybe I didn't fall into it, but after school, I was at a hotel as a billing manager, and then I finished that. It wasn't working well. I sold some abayas, and then it didn't work well. I tried a lot of things. I'm still doing a lot of things. But in between there, I would give therapy to my friends.
Okay.
But through experience.
Okay.
Not professionally. Yeah, because I have my experience. Yeah, with relationships. So yeah, I used to do it. When I mentioned that I was doing it from home, that's what I was doing. Yeah, so people would come to me, I would save your marriage and go like, you know what, call this chick, she saved my marriage, go talk to her. She really has some good insights on relationships. And that's how it started, just like that. And before you know it, I could get like 5 clients a week, 4 clients a week. And my husband is like, you need to go study. I mean, you could as well just go and study because you're doing it. I'm like, yeah, that's not such a bad idea. And before you knew it, in 2018, I did my first course in couples and family therapy. Oh my God, there is so much we don't know. And there I was giving advice through experience, and I'm like, subhanAllah, what was I doing? Yeah, but that is how it started. And before you knew it, I did my 2nd diploma, my 3rd, my 4th. I finished my 6th 2 weeks ago. I'm flying. Yes.
And enjoying it, clearly.
I love it. And it never ends. Like every time you learn something, you want to know more. Why do we think like this? Why do human beings behave like this? It's actually really interesting, how the human mind works. So you never want to stop. Yeah, so that is how it started. And yeah, I'm going to keep pushing.
Okay.
Yes.
So you said couples and family therapy.
Yes.
I was chatting with someone a few months ago, I think, and she was talking about how she had taken her mom for therapy, and her mom is like a really traditional woman. She's like, me, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what is going on. You children, why are you telling me these things? I'm like, no, we went through this, because she felt that as a unit, they weren't communicating properly as a family.
That's true.
Like always there's a different dynamic and there's beef, and because you don't ever address issues, like a lot of things just made it uncomfortable for them as a family. And I remember thinking about that, like, the courage to take your mother, your parents.
I know. No, like
was raised you, and you're like, we need therapy.
But you see that is
it's a
exactly
tough concept, right?
It is exactly the problem with us here. Like, you tell your parent that we have to go to therapy. What? I get for asking me, how old are you? Please. I'm serious. And they're like, Yeah, and but that's the reality. People don't want to be told what to
Yeah.
do. People think they know. It's an ego problem, really. Also, how we've been raised it has something to do with how we face these things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I like what you said, ego as well. It
Yes.
is because people never want to think that they don't know what they're doing. Yet half the time, we're kind of just winging it.
I
Or like you
know.
said, you've gone to someone's house and they've given you advice. They're like, let me try.
Right?
Let me try this.
Right? And that's how life should be. Learning never stops teaching. Like, we are always learning. And this is the first thing I learned in couples therapy, that once you start this course, you never stop learning.
Yeah.
There are new researches, there are new theories. Every time there is a new research, and you need to keep up. You need to
Yeah.
keep up. The things I was telling people in 2018, I'm not telling them anymore. Now I'm learning things. I hear attachment theory, I hear this, and I'm like, wow.
I've been learning about the attachment theories and I'm kind of like, it's kind of
amazing.
crazy.
Right?
And it makes sense.
A lot of sense. So you see, it never stops teaching. So if you're out there and you don't want to be taught, you don't want to be criticized, you're not welcome to feedback, you're not going to grow. You need to
Okay.
be welcome to all these things. Let people tell you what they have to say. All you have to do is listen.
Well, I'm curious,
Yeah.
as a therapist, and you were helping people out of your home, right?
Yes.
Did you ever seek therapy yourself?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
At some point, I needed it. I actually did therapy back when my first relationship failed. Yeah. And I didn't like it.
Okay.
I hated it. This person I saw was condescending, or judgmental. You know those people who tell you that, a woman is supposed to do ABCD. No, don't do it that way. That is what I got from therapy. And I kept wondering, is that really what therapy is
So
about?
they were telling you it failed because you failed.
Exactly. Because you didn't do ABC, that's why your marriage is failing. Because you look a certain way, or because you do things a certain way, that's why your marriage is failing. They were telling me, because of who I am, you want to work and be a wife? No, you want a career and you want to be a wife? Those two things don't go hand in hand. Pick one. Like, that is what I got from therapy.
So unrealistic in the world
Exactly.
today. How do you support your partner if you don't work?
Thank you. So I kind of didn't like therapy, and I kept telling myself, if I become a therapist, I'm going to be a different kind of therapist. I'm really trying to be a different kind of therapist. Yeah, so because I've tried it twice, I didn't like it, but then I met another therapist recently that I kind of liked, Madame Pendo. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I can see people are doing a good job these days, and yeah, people need to seek therapy. It helps.
It really does.
It does.
And I love that we're now having these conversations around mental health, because in life you have to try and strive to be better.
That's true.
And that involves also dealing with your own demons,
Yep.
facing your own weaknesses, and
Right.
seeing how you can just become a better human
That
being.
is true.
Right?
I can't be a good therapist if I'm still dealing with my own demons, right? I need to pour from a full cup. I need to be mentally sane to actually sit here and, because imagine I see people Monday to Saturday, actually even Sunday, because I work online sometimes, and everyone is going through stuff. So imagine taking all that in, and you don't have anywhere to go and rant or vent, and it can be
That's
too
true.
much. Yeah, I used to burn out in the beginning, and I had started to hate the job. I'm like, no. And I would kind of go home and project those things onto my husband. I'm like, so you also like those men, eh? He's like, yo, please, eh? No.
Like, don't bring that
Don't
other
start,
people's
yeah.
drama to me.
He's like, don't start. So I knew I had to check myself. I go like, okay, you know what, Sharifah? Your work, you need somewhere safe
Yeah.
to actually go and rant and vent and talk to someone to avoid the burnout.
It must be a scary thing when people really open up, because we all have flaws, we all make mistakes,
Right.
and it's a safe space. So we tell you these things.
Yeah.
It can be scary because you're like, whoa, this is what we are capable of, human beings.
I know.
Yeah.
It is. Sometimes you hear things, but because you have to be objective, and I think that's the beauty about therapy, is when I come in and say that this guy slept with a 15-year-old, the first thing you do is find out why.
Yeah, the first instinct.
Right? Yeah, you don't start throwing stones just like, what people do, or to people on social media, like, you're a rapist, you're a bad person, people sometimes have reasons why they do things. Sometimes it comes from their childhood. And if you don't start there, you're not going to help anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a tough one.
It is. It
And I
is.
think that's like your first experience, why a lot of people find that you have someone and they seem so judgmental. So I've heard many people say, oh, you first try different therapists until you find one that you're comfortable with. Because you also have different styles.
Right. Yes. The talk therapy is different. Everyone has a different approach. I will tell you, I have had clients who have come to me and they've left other therapists because of reason A, B, C, D. I got this lady who told me, I always share her story. She gave me permission, guys. I know I'm supposed to be confidential, but yeah, she told me the first therapist I saw in Uganda told me, I quote, "You think you're too beautiful? That's why you act the way you act. Many girls want that man. And you're just, she was in an abusive relationship and she wanted to leave. So this therapist told her, you have no right to leave just because the guy beat you. But you're acting like that because you're beautiful. Many women want that man. He has money. Go back and cook." That was a therapist.
An actual therapist.
Yeah.
Not a relative.
Right? Because that sounds like
auntie that was
that sounds like
sit you down.
I know, that sounds like something an auntie would say, you know? But when she came to me, I told her, look, you're supposed to be empowered to have options to choose. You want to stay? Cool. Let's talk about what staying looks like. You want to leave? Then let's talk about what living looks like. That's the kind of empowerment you need from a therapist. A therapist is not supposed to tell you what to do. I give you strategies, coping mechanisms, ideas, options, right? So that has actually led me to believe we have a lot of work to do. Every therapist is different. Yeah, we do. Every therapist is different. You need to find the right fit. So take your time, because I could ruin you as a therapist.
That's true.
Yeah, if you find the wrong one, they could ruin you. True.
Because you have to be really vulnerable. You have to accept that you need help.
Exactly. And
You start there.
Imagine coming to me for help, and I give you such advice. You go like, no, but Sharifah told me that I sit home and cook ngume. That's what she told me. She's a therapist. She knows what she's doing. And just like that, someone's life is ruined.
It's crazy. You talk about how you were helping your friends, and then your hubby was like, "There's something here," and then you've turned this into your profession in the world that we're living in today. I love that we can actually help people in a completely different way. Did you ever see yourself as a person going on social media?
Never.
So what about like on your own? Were you ever active on your own, just your own accounts?
Never. Crystal, I have an account I opened, I think, I noticed it was in 2014. And I would post once in 6 months. And only Islamic stuff, because it's for religion and stuff. So honestly, me as a person, I love my privacy. I love my privacy. Like, I have seen how terrible social media can be, and I hate it, and I don't want to subject my family to that, even me as a person. So I've always hated it.
Okay.
So I thought I would always do it hash, like, through recommendations. Crystal, tell her, Sharifah, to tell this one, and then I'm a good therapist. But lockdown came and I got it. Every time something bad happens, something good can come out of it. True. You just have to actually embrace it. Like, everything that comes your way, you can use it to your advantage. I'm still not comfortable on social media, but I'm showing up.
Yeah.
And comfortably, I'm showing up. And it's working. I would like to think it's working, because I have people I'm helping, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
So every time I feel like, I don't feel like recording a video, I'm like, hey, Sharifah, Bambi, those people need you. That chick in your inbox, that guy in your inbox. I'm like, you know what? I'll do it.
And that's just an example. I mean, we keep talking about growth in uncomfortable spaces.
Yes.
And that's what you're doing. It's not the easiest fit, but you're like,
Crystal, I hate. Let me tell you, it is the most uncomfortable thing I've ever had to do. And I'm doing it because, honestly speaking, I have helped so many people since I opened up my accounts 2020. And every time someone gives you feedback and tell you, oh, Sharifah, there is that post you put up last time and you don't know how much it helped me. You're like, oh, subhanAllah. This is helping someone out there. And I think that's it for me, because apart from my therapy thing, I'm so much into charity.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, I'm going to treat this as one of my charity organizations. Yeah, so I'm just going to go, right? Yeah. I love charity so much. I live for it. So I keep telling myself, no, go teach someone something. Because all the information on most of the therapists' pages is information that every human being needs to know. Yeah,
True.
so you just have to embrace it. Go learn something. That's why they tell us you need to be very careful who you're following on social media,
Yeah.
Therapists mostly are sharing information every couple should know, every human being should
Should
know.
know.
Yeah, but some people, therapy is expensive. I personally, I am expensive. So if I can put out something out there for those who can't afford therapy, yeah, well, my day is made.
It goes a long way.
It does.
I was thinking about what you were saying earlier about, you've gotten so much backlash
Yes.
in your inbox because you're a Muslim woman, you're an African woman, and they're like, how can you say these things? And right now we're living in a world where there are two sides. You were talking about your client who was in an abusive relationship, and she was told, what's wrong with you? You should be grateful.
Right?
Go on, cook. Right? And then...
Actually, I had forgotten that statement. The therapist told me, you're in this house, and you want to leave. I'm like, so
there you
please,
go.
no, you're right. You should
And
be
then on the
grateful.
other hand, though,
Yeah.
we also have messages in the world now, which is like, it's like you. There's also a very me-centric approach to the world today, which is also unrealistic because we
Yeah.
live with others,
Right.
especially. How do you navigate that? Because I know you talk a lot about women. You have to be healthy, you have to be whole, you have to be happy. And if you need to leave, then you need to leave, right?
Oh, Crystal. Oh, I think that is where, apart from the sex bit, I think that's where most of the anger is coming from.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm one of those people who will come and tell you, hey, if you're being physically abused, go, leave, and realize many people are not okay with that. Because number one...
Yet it should be like the most obvious thing, right?
No, Crystal. I know it should be, but it's not. People
Because
will
even
come-
most people, when they say, they separated, was she being beaten? Was he cheating? Was he, those are the questions people
Right.
ask, right?
Right, but again, I would like to think that when growing up, there are certain things that are modeled in your life. If you witness daddy and mommy fighting, you'll grow up thinking that is okay, right? So for people who grew up thinking that was okay, I'm bad right now for coming out to tell them, you go, leave that man, leave that woman. You're like, what are you saying? Where I grew up, that was normal. And you're telling us to leave? Yeah, you're giving us poison. You're giving us poison. And then the men will come and tell me, what's the word? Osigula abakazi. Yeah, that's the word. That's what with the men, most of the men who are in my inbox, that's what they're telling me, because I've come out and told the woman that, hey, you can actually be a wife and also have a career. You can. But then the men will go like, no way.
I
My
want my
mom
woman
didn't
at
work.
home.
Where I grew up, my dad provided. My mom wasn't working. So when Sharifah comes out and says a woman can work and also be a wife, now to him, I'm speaking Chinese. So he's obviously going to attack me, right? Yeah, so I've come to understand that all these people are attacking me is because what I'm saying is kind of foreign to them. They're not used to it, and I don't blame them.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to stop telling people because I have a story. I might not share it, but I have a story, right? Where I've been in an abusive relationship, and I managed to get out of it. And I'm in a healthy one, hence the glow, right?
Yes.
So when I tell you that you can actually start over, it's possible, right? When I tell you that it does not help you to stay in an abusive relationship, I know what I'm talking about. Because I have clients who are suicidal. I have clients who want to kill themselves, clients who are in depression, because society will look at them a certain way if they leave the abusive person. And when you say abuse, everyone thinks it's only physical. No, emotional abuse these days is as bad as physical abuse. So no, I'm not going to stop telling women to choose themselves. I won't stop telling men to choose themselves, because there's some men in abusive relationships
I was
too.
about to ask you about that,
Yeah.
because most times when you talk about abuse, people always think about the male on female abuse, right?
Right.
But there are many men who are also suffering emotional abuse at the hands of their women.
There are many.
And do they seek help? Where do they find, it's almost like as a man, you're weak if you try to get help.
I know. My male clients who are watching, I would like to clap for them. I'm getting so many men these days book for therapy.
Yay.
But then they will come in like, Sharifah, I don't know what you're going to tell me, but let's just try it. Let's just try it. So, but it's that toxic masculinity that we've actually ingrained in our boys' brains. Like, for example, I have two sons, 21 and 12. Grow up. You're a boy. Why are you crying? Why
Oh,
are
you have to be hard, you have to be tough.
Yeah, be tough. Hey, man up. See, those are the men we have today. And I hope parents
And that's
can
not a
do better.
completely bad thing, though.
Well, it depends. You know, now, most of the times, men cannot be vulnerable in a relationship.
Okay.
And that is because we've trained them not to be vulnerable.
And that's a problem,
It
too.
is a problem, right? We've told them that they're not supposed to have emotions. You're a man. Why are you crying? A man's not supposed to cry. But pain is supposed to be felt. Men go through a lot, Crystal.
Yeah.
And when they come in to share, you really sympathize with them because you realize this is the first time they're sharing in 20 years. And they're unpacking. And you realize, yo, if you can be this way with your wife, do you know how far your marriage would go? But because they're not used to it, it's affecting their relationships. So yeah, men...
Instead of communicating, they just clam up, they go quiet.
Thank you.
Or they just keep busy elsewhere, right?
And that's what's happening. And then the woman won't understand it. They're like, no, he doesn't love me. He doesn't find me attractive. But he can't share. He's just not free to share because he's not used to it. And even if he shared, are you safe enough for him to share with you, right? Yeah, because most of us have that notion that you're supposed to be a man. You're not supposed to have emotions. Man up. Why are you crying? Why is a man crying? Why shouldn't he cry?
Yes.
He's a human being, right? No, but seriously, what you're saying is true. Most of the men are emotionally abused. Yeah, as much as most of the women are physically abused, women are, we are emotional abusers. We are very
And
hurtful with the things we say.
manipulators.
I know. And we don't talk about that, right? We only talk about he's toxic, he's that. But no, men are abused. I'm sure the woman who attacked me on this issue must be wondering, you didn't learn? There's a woman who attacked me on that issue.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you said men are also being abused?
No, I actually came and say that not all men are the same. Some
Okay.
men out there are actually good. And this woman sent me a message telling me that I must be a whore because everyone put it as Abasaja. People are angry, Christo. Yeah. So because we're not used to talking about this, no one is out there actually saying these things to women.
Yeah.
Hey, women, some of us are actually terrible human beings to our husbands.
Yeah.
We don't hear that a lot. But what we hear is men are toxic, men are narcissists, men are this. But it goes two ways.
Yes.
And I'm here to talk about that too.
True.
Yes.
Because also I feel like there's a certain bit of accountability that, I keep talking about women need to be more accountable for their
Right.
actions. I've been on that
Right.
conversation for a bit. I mean, like there are women who throw things in the house.
Yes.
Throw plates and pans and things.
Yeah.
I'm like, that is abusive
It
behavior.
is. It is. And some women are physically abusive as well. Crystal, I
Exactly.
see a lot in my
And
practice.
if you keep hurting someone, you know what you're doing is hurting that person, but you continue to do it.
And if it's not working, and I always ask them, for how long have you been like this? 3 years. Has it worked? No, clearly not. So that means we need a different approach, right? So we know we are abusive. We know, but it's because sometimes it's the only way we know how to act. It's the only way we know how to communicate because that also we watched growing up. Like, I used to see my mom do that. I used to see my dad do that. Maybe that's how it works. If you grew up around silent treatment, you're like, maybe that works. Yeah, let me just keep quiet for like 3 months. Not knowing that that's also manipulative behavior, controlling behavior.
Yes, it
so we
is.
just all need to learn to break certain negative patterns and then learn. If you're not willing to learn, nothing is going to work.
I just had a moment, I thought back to, I swear it's like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was one of my workmates and she was talking about how her husband was always around. And she's like, can't he go? I mean, her father was never around. He had things to do, but why is the
Yeah.
husband around in the house? And I was like, but this is his home too. I remember that. And that's the reason I think why many people also are not comfortable in their own homes.
That's
because
true.
if you're treated like, it's like your access hours are only after work hours. Otherwise,
Right.
why are you here?
No, I know. And you see, we keep blaming our parents for how we've been raised, but we need to stop doing that. Our parents raised us the only way they knew how.
Exactly.
Crystal, my mom was never there. She used to work Monday to Monday, right? So if I sit here and start blaming her and also go like, I'm not going to be there for my kids, my mom was never there. That's how people say, am I not here? Am I not here? My mom was... No, we need to do better. At a certain point in life, you need to parent yourself because you know that everything you've learned from the past is not working. So it's everyone's responsibility to relearn, unlearn, and, be a better person for yourself first, for your partner, and for your children. Yeah, so we cannot keep doing that. I know our family backgrounds usually have a lot to play in how we show up in relationships.
Yeah.
But, hey,
Especially
that's
what
it.
we saw with our parents.
That is true. That is true. And that is why I'm so much putting a lot of emphasis on the abuse part. Yeah, our children are watching. They see you beat mommy, they see you shout. And then some women won't beat or shout, but the body language? You know that?
Exactly.
Yeah, but the kids are watching.
The disrespect.
Yeah, exactly. So the kids are watching, and chances are high they are going to end up being abusers or abused. because it's more normal now.
Yeah.
So if she finds an abusive partner, she will endure it. Yeah, because mommy endured it, mommy stayed. So for me, that is where my emphasis is. People can throw stones at me, but nowhere in religion are we advised to stay in a physically or emotionally abusive relationships. Love is a medium of peace, tranquility, affection. So there is nowhere we are told that, please, Guma. No. I've also come to learn that every time you tell this person, hey, I do not like your tone, if you have an issue, if you're having a bad day, cool off, come and we talk. Communicate your boundaries. So you see, every time you do that with a mature human being, they will learn and give you exactly that. But every time you do that with a narcissist, you will realize that they're going to back away because now they cannot feed off you anymore. So they're going to find another person that they can feed off.
Okay.
That is how it works. So yeah, people are afraid of setting boundaries because they fear rejection, abandonment. Like, but if I tell him this, won't he leave me? If I do this, will he see me the same or will he still want me? That is their fear. So they fear to choose themselves.
So you're not comfortable in your own skin
Exactly.
first. Yeah.
If there is no authenticity, you're going to take all the crap everyone throws at you. So I think that is where you need to always ask yourself, do I know myself? Do I like myself? Do I have boundaries? Am I willing to accept this for the rest of my life? And for me, that is how I've learned to grow in relationships.
Okay.
We change, and if my partner is not willing to change with me, then we have a problem. Yeah.
True. True.
Yes.
I was thinking about a counselor I was speaking to a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And she was, you know, because you all do different kinds of therapy.
Yes.
You do relationship counseling, marriage counseling. And she was like, me? Couples therapy? Nope. She's like, I tried it. There is no way I'm going back.
Oh, why? What was her
That's
reason?
so hard. I don't know what it was, but I was like, okay. She's like, I'm not going there. She's like, the anger that people come into the room with,
Yeah.
the bitterness. I was like, whoa.
I know, it is a trigger. It can be a trigger, by the way. It is too much because people will come in with all sorts of, like you said, I do a lot of things on my social media because everything I'm talking about on social media, I am seeing in my practice.
Okay.
So it means that if I deal with Christo as a wife and him as your husband, that's not it. If we don't talk about all of these things, you're not going to pay attention to what could be causing the problem. So I try to make sure that I talk about as much as possible so that everyone can pick what resonates with them.
Yeah.
It cannot be enough, obviously. I always put a disclaimer out there, but you try. Yeah, every time you put out something, you're like, okay, it could be my childhood, okay. It could be my mom, okay. It could be me as a person, okay. Now, hopefully, I'll start talking about attachment styles because I finished my diploma. And you will learn a lot every time you do couples therapy. Me personally, that is how I've managed to grow. Because I only did couples and family therapy, then I did my life coaching and I started there.
Okay.
But I couldn't understand people's thoughts. Like, how can you think like that? So I said, okay, what do I need to do? So I go on Google and I type, why do people think the way they think? And then they talk about CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. I'm like, okay, I need to do something there. So then I went and did a diploma there. And then I realized, oh my God. So the way we think affects how we feel and that affects our actions. Oh, okay, that makes so much sense. And then you go into something else. But why is she like this?
Why did she think like that in the first place?
Thank you. Why is she so needy? Why is she so clingy? Oh, attachment theory. It has something to do with how they're attached in childhood. So, okay, now I need to do this. So that is how I've managed to grow. And for me, yes, that counselor was right. Couples therapy sometimes is hard, but for me now I've used it as a tool to help me grow. Yeah, like I'm curious. I'm always curious. Every time a couple leaves, wallahi, when I'm writing down my notes, when a guy says something, I'm writing it down. Why did he think like that? Why did she? So I have to actually go and do research. It's not easy.
I don't think
No,
it
it's not easy.
I don't think
It's
it
not
is,
easy.
because when you have one human being in front of you, you're dealing with their, like you said, their inner child,
Thank you.
their actions, and
Yeah.
then also trying to help this person, you know, head in the direction that they want to.
I
head
know.
in, you know, and now you have two people.
It's not easy. But the joy at the end when, you know, people are calling you, you're like, oh my gosh, Sharifah, our anniversary, you know, you need to come, thank you. And you're like, I did it. Yeah, so for me, it's charity now.
Okay,
Yeah, I want to
okay.
just help one or two people and my day is met.
Okay.
Yes.
So the world today apparently is so difficult for relationships, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like society is making it harder and harder for people to stay in their marriage, stay in a relationship, grow in relationships, right?
Right.
Why do you think that is? That's what we hear. That's what people say. I don't know.
Well, let's go back to what we've been taught growing up. Do you know of anyone who has never said, "Ah, bufumbo si bwangu"? Do you know of anyone who has never said that? I feel like everywhere you turn, people are telling you marriage is hard, marriage is hard, marriage is hard, marriage is hard.
Okay.
So grow up with that kind of mindset.
All right.
And you are going to get into marriage thinking it is hard. So you can either come with your walls up, like ngenze kulwana, ngenze kulutalo, right? Or you can come in with this mindset of, but why do people say marriage is hard? Let me try to not make it hard.
Okay.
I'm those people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like for me, I'm always
That's
looking
all
at
the way back. Like, why? Why? Who
Yeah.
says?
Thank you. Because, yeah, of course, you've been in relationships before marriage and like, but marriage is not hard. It's people. It's the people you're dealing with. Yes. Because, Crystal, it's you and I who make the marriage either hard or good. So I feel like we need to stop saying marriage is hard and stop thinking about the people you're dating.
All right.
Yes, that's how I want to look at it. If I'm with a person who is hard-headed, egoistic, manipulative, controlling, he is going to make the marriage hard.
Yeah.
But if I'm with a person who is kind, empathetic, listening, who communicates, who respects boundaries, marriage is going to be sweet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so marriage is not hard. You need to pay attention to the people you're dating. So I think it's high time you sat down with the person you're dating and ask them, what kind of marriage do you want? This is what I do in premarital therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, you
come
do
in-
the premarital as well.
Yes, I'm doing a lot of things.
Okay.
And now that I've started to look at Let's Fix It as a charity, I actually want to go to schools now. I want to go to communities. I want to do it pro bono, by the way. I really want to do good, yeah. So I was reading that if you want to enjoy something, if you want to make something a habit, you need to enjoy it. So since I enjoy charity so much, I'm implementing that in my work.
Okay.
Yeah, so that I can enjoy it. I don't want to always come out going like, now I have to do this.
Yeah, have to work.
Right? Yes. When you come in and he comes in, I'm always asking you, what do you want your marriage to look like? And then you'll hear someone literally telling you how they grew up. For me, I want a man who treats me like how my dad treated my mom.
Oh, there's a lot of that.
See? See the problem right there? And you're telling this to a person who also grew up in a different kind of setting.
Who is not your dad?
Exactly. Who is not your dad? And you see, that is where the problem comes from. So from
But I feel like a lot of men also do the same thing.
They
They're
do.
Like, but my mom did this. My mother was home, like you said. My mother stayed home, took care of us. She cooked. She this, that.
That is so true. That is so true. And but lately, I'm starting to see a lot of emotional maturity in some of the men that we have. Right? There's this gentleman who came, and I told him you would thrive in Islam because he went like, I don't want my wife to work, but I give her upkeep. Okay? She has an account where her money is not touched. I do everything for her. I provide, and I want her to use that upkeep to do something for herself. I told him, bro, you should be Muslim, right? Because you see, this lady didn't have to do anything. All she had to do is stay at home, step out, go do your hair, your nails, go for a movie, but just stay at home. Don't hustle, don't work, right? So he did that because that's what his dad did for his mother. So some of these things can be good, yeah? But some can be bad. Like you said, I mean, this is 2023. Right? It benefits the family if both mommy and daddy work. Yes? So in premarital therapy, if you both come in and you want him to do what your dad did, he wants you to do what his mother did, you're going to clash.
Yeah.
Right? So we always go by, can we talk about how you want your marriage to look like? Not what your dad did, not what your mom did. Yeah, it could have been nice, but this is not your dad. What if he's not willing to do what your dad did? Then what? So can we talk about us? Okay, let's look at 10 years from now. What do you want it to look like? That is where we usually start. And then you'll hear a man saying like, okay, I want a respect woman. I want a woman who's going to respect me. And then
Respect is very important.
it is important, right? And the woman will go like, I want a man who's going to provide 101%. Can you do that? And the guy's like, but you're working. If you want me to provide 101%, then stay at home. And she's like, no, I can't stay at home. That money is for me. Like,
I say women will say, your money is our money, but my money is my money.
let me tell you something, Krista. You need to find a person who can be on the same page with you. It is how marriage can, work easier for you. And everything that makes a marriage hard, we see before we get married. You are with me, you see me partying Monday to Monday, drinking. But you're like, when she has kids, she'll change. You see this man throwing phones, caps every time he's angry. You're like, I know when he becomes a father, he'll change. I think you just need to give him time. But you see, everything you see now in the dating phase is exactly what you're going to see in marriage, or worse.
Thank you. I think that's a huge point.
Yes, it is.
Yes, someone is showing you who they are.
Exactly.
They might change.
They might. Yeah, I believe in change. But some people don't realize they have a problem. Because I keep telling clients, the only way you can solve a problem is if you know what the problem is. So do you know that you're egoistic? Do you know that you're narcissistic? Do you know that you're controlling? Do you know all of these things about yourself? He might just go like, no, this is how I am. This is how I was born. So that we have a problem because that kind of person is not willing to change.
Yeah.
So that is a problem. But yeah, so everything you see now, and to everyone who's there, all those who are planning to get married, this is very important information for them. Stop giving excuses for the person. If he's being abusive now, he's going to be abusive in the relationship. If they're not providing now, they're not going to provide when you get married. If they're being controlling right now, they are going to control you in the relationship. Everything you see is what you're going to see. So in premarital counseling, this is what we do. We prepare you for marriage is not hard. It is how you both look at it. Yeah. I've had couples who come in and say, we want to do 70-30. Let him provide 70, let me provide 30. And we are clear on that day. What does 30 look like? Isn't that one?
These are the conversations that they're supposed to have. Talk about finances. Talk about how you're going to raise children. And you talked about non-negotiables. I think people don't talk about that.
No, we don't. Like I said, most of us fear abandonment, and some of our boundaries can push people away. Like for me, I have changed a lot, Crystal. Like because when I was doing therapy from home, I was also a stay-at-home mom at that time. Usually when I have my babies, I give them 2 years, breastfeeding, no maid touches them. So I usually, I use that time to, work and, be there for them.
And be home.
But now you can imagine, now I'm not home anymore. You can imagine that shift for my marriage, for my children, for my husband. Yeah. So if your partner is not willing to change with you, because now I've obviously set certain boundaries now that I didn't have back then, my partner should be willing to understand that, hey, this is now 2023. It's not 2018 when I was working from home. Things have changed, and I'm setting a boundary A, B, C, D, respectfully. And I'm also changing in a sense of now I'm not going to be home all the time. Sometimes I'm going to come back home late. Sometimes I'll go work on a Sunday. Sometimes, like every time you don't communicate these things, we are going to have a problem. Yeah. So boundaries. What are your non-negotiables? What are those things that you tell your husband, boss, this happens, I'm out. And when I tell people that not all men cheat, I have seen it. There are women who have come into marriages and they're like, and I'm those women. Yeah, and haters are going to say that, but more uniform, but more uniform.
No, there are very many men who don't cheat.
They don't. And I was going to say, I talk about one of my boundaries. One of my boundaries is you cheat, I'm out. And you might say, but you're a Muslim woman. Yeah, I'm a Muslim woman, but also I know. But you know
yourself also, right?
I know myself. I can't cook with Crystal. I can't. But also, I know that religion did not say it's a must for him to marry. It's just a sunnah. That means we can do without it. So I want a man who can do without it. So we'll sit and I'll ask you, what do you think about marrying a second or third wife? If you tell me that's something you might do in the future, peace, I'm out. And I like honest conversations. Like for me, I don't care if you reject me or abandon me or dump me. I like honesty. And people need to be okay with this. But because we fear that, like if I tell him, he might leave me, let me just get through with the marriage first.
And that's the thing. In the beginning, people do not present who they truly are.
Exactly.
And that's a big issue with dating. Yes. People say dating is so hard. It's great in the beginning and then it gets harder later. Well, that's because you were both on your best behavior, pretending to be someone you aren't.
Exactly.
And then the real you, after 2 years, you can't pretend.
No, you can't.
For more than 2 years. At some point, the real you will come out, right?
You'll hear them saying, hey, but this guy has changed, this chick has changed. No, they've not changed. They've always been this way. It's just that when you told them you want A, B, C, D, they gave you that picture because that's what you communicated. Yeah. Right? And then now that some of them will go like, I have kids, I have this. Psh, I have no reason to pretend now, I've got her hooked. And then they'll show you who they really are.
It's like this problematic narrative of men saying you don't put on an engagement ring, you don't give her a ring, you get her pregnant. That's how you get her. I'm like, what?
But that's not okay.
And a lot of Ugandan men are saying the same thing. They're like, no. If you want to keep her, get her pregnant.
But that's not okay. Because you will get her pregnant, and then you regret this. Because you don't know who I am. I will give you this kid, but I'll be your headache for the rest of your life. So get to know me first. Yeah, get to know me first before you get me hooked. Because man, we are crazy sometimes. No, but it's very important for you to actually ask that question. I feel like we don't get to know each other in the beginning very well, and we are not honest. For me, I'm honest. My non-negotiables are physical abuse, emotional abuse, and cheating.
Yeah.
Those are non-negotiables. Those are the things that we will not even sit. Say, please hear me out. I will not hear you out. You throw a cup, Smanya, you do this, I'm out. Because that is something I don't want to subject my children to.
Yeah.
As a person, I might heal, but I don't know what that will do to my children. I've seen it. I see couples coming in, and I'm like, subhanAllah, I would never do this to my children. Yeah. Now there are things that you can tolerate.
Yeah.
Anyone. There are challenges in marriage. If my husband lost his job right now, I would stay. I would tolerate that. We would work through that because that is a challenge. Yeah. But society has made cheating a challenge. And I'm telling you, no, be patient. Please. Patient for what? he made the choice, right? No, that's not a challenge. Okay, challenge is infertility. Challenge is he has lost a job. Challenge is an illness. Those are challenges in marriage. So let's remove cheating from the challenges in marriage. Someone asked me a question, but Sharifah, what is your why? Why did you start coming on here? And I said, what annoys me in therapy is that I see people normalizing toxic behavior, and it pisses me off.
Yes.
Yeah, so I kind of want to use my page to kind of trash that and go like, no, that is toxic. Let's not normalize it.
What are some prime examples of toxic behavior
that we've normalized? Let's start there, cheating. Everyone is telling you men are the same. Yeah, okay, now where are you going to get a good one? Thank you. Where are you going to get a good one? At least where he has given you a home. Sit and cook. Sit. As if giving you a home is the only thing you need to make a marriage work.
Yeah.
What about the emotional bit, right? So we are seeing so many angry single women in marriages.
I feel like a lot of the people who attack you also come from a place of misery.
Exactly.
They're so miserable.
That's why I don't
want
blame
everyone
them.
else to be miserable.
And I said it, my video that I posted, I said, not everyone on social media is faking it. Some couples are actually happy. I have seen some couples on social media that genuinely are happy. I didn't say perfect, but they are happy because they are working at it.
Yeah.
So just because you chose to stay in a one-sided relationship, don't come at me. I didn't ask you to do that. Right? You have your own reasons. Yeah, he gave you a home. You don't want to leave a home because those are the reasons.
Yeah.
He gave me a car. Now if I leave, he gave me a house. Even men are staying in toxic marriages because, man, what will the people say? I committed to this chick. Let me be a man and stay. So you all have your reasons why you stayed. But if I'm calling out those toxic things that you've normalized, let me call them out. There's some people who are actually benefiting from this, right? And it should never be normalized. Number one is the cheating I was talking about.
Yeah.
Number two is the emotional abuse. People downplay it. They say, if he has not beaten you, where are you going? Did he beat you? No, mommy, but he's verbally abusive. Hajat, that woman is abusing me. Come on. Those are the things I hear.
Yeah.
We've normalized that too.
No, I remember a friend many years ago telling me that her partner would tell her, you're so ugly. No other man would want you. I mean, like, who would want you? You're useless. You're stupid. And I was like, how can your person say these things to you?
And that's supposed to be a marriage. So if I come out and call you out on that, you're going to get angry. But why would you? Because to me, that's not normal behavior. That's not something I will excuse. And I know I'm not the only one. But we have our fears, and then we have our limitations, our limiting beliefs that go like, just like you said, for her, that is going to crush her self-confidence, her esteem as a person. It's going to make her feel the worst of herself.
Yeah.
But how is that okay? Because like I said, marriage is a medium of affection, compassion, love, kindness. So for me, if those things are not in a marriage, I don't want it. Yeah. So I kind of talk about that. People have normalized toxic behavior in relationships, and I want to call that out.
Okay. So cheating, emotional abuse.
Yes, and then we have the responsibility bit. I don't know, like I said, every marriage is different right now, yeah? You'll find, now for me, in my relationship, my husband takes 101% responsibility. That is something he's comfortable with, right? But you will find a relationship where a man tells you, I will take care of you, and then they don't, right? And then you'll find this woman struggling in any way that they can to make sure rent is paid, to make sure children are taken care of, and we've also normalized that, right? Like, why? What do you move? I mean, what will people say if you leave your marriage? So you want to keep the title, but you are struggling.
Yeah.
You're single.
I think this is what you were talking about recently, like when, and I've seen quite a lot of conversations asking people, like, when did you discover that you were single in your marriage?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
I actually put that out, and one of my clients came and told me, but Sharifah, when someone is on your page, they actually call, like you call yourself and you go like, I actually do that to my wife. I actually do that to my husband. So I tell like that is why I'm doing it. Because you might be in a marriage and go like, we don't talk. Everyone is on their own. We sleep in separate bedrooms. Yeah, but we show up together at parties. So I bring this to people's attention so that they check themselves if they still want their marriages to work anyway.
Yeah.
Because many of us are single. So I actually, the reason I brought
Single
that up,
in relationships.
in relationships, yeah, we
It
are
just
single.
sounds bizarre, but yeah.
When you're in a marriage, you want to have a friend, yes? But what happened to marriages these days? Like, we hate each other, but we are together. And I don't like that. Like, I would rather leave. Because marriage is not the end or be all for any relationship, right? Yeah, and I know people don't like to hear that. Matters of religion, yeah, there's society. But you guys, life is short. Yeah, and if I cannot have a friend for a partner, I'd rather be alone. It's lonely enough, right, as a person. So if I'm going to be lonely in my marriage, if I'm going to teach my children that that's how a marriage should look like,
Yeah.
I'd rather not.
And children feel, even if they don't understand, they feel
Yes.
all these emotions. And they see, I guess.
I know. They
see.
do. No, they do. For me, when I'm in my Lucidica with my husband, my daughters notice. They come and say, because we have the tendency of kissing and hugging in front of them, not French kissing, just like a peck, and, to just show them that mommy
Affection
and daddy.
is a good thing, right?
Yeah. So in Lucidica, sometimes I'm too angry to come and, and then my 5-year-old go like, oh, mommy, today you've not kissed daddy. So that means that they notice these things. Yeah, they see these things. And I swear to God, the last thing I want is to do that to my children. Because I growing up, I saw a lot of it and I hated it. And that can do something to a person.
I think a lot of people can relate.
Yeah, if you grew up in a loveless home or where you're not allowed to speak up, you don't have to show emotions, when you grow up, you end up doing that to your child because that's what you knew growing up. So lately, I am teaching ladies and men to go like, hey, I didn't have that, but I'm going to give it to my children. That's what I want to teach people.
And that starts with you sitting down and actually really looking at your life, looking at how you grew up, looking at your parents.
Yes.
Because I always say one of the hardest things growing up is realizing your parents are not perfect.
No.
Because when you're growing up, they're the most amazing. I mean, they can't do no wrong.
I know.
And then you start to realize, wait a minute.
I know. And you have to forgive them. Honestly, all they did is what they knew.
Yeah.
The same way you're doing what you know, right? So.
And even, I think, even us as parents, we will find out later on that we messed up here and there.
Thank you. We are learning every day. We are learning every day, and I'm very. The children topic is very dear to me because I have children.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't want to do that to them. So even on my page, I keep giving some information on how, conscious parenting and all, and how you have to be mindful and stuff, because everything we do ceases to be about us anymore, and then it just pours onto the children. So we need to be very careful what we do, what we say, and what they see. For me in my home, it is very important on what they see. So I've actually created a ritual in my home, a connection ritual. Like my husband is so busy, he's always on his laptop, and we've decided to eat dinner together. Come and buy. Like, it doesn't matter how busy we are. Yes. Apart from the days where he has to go with his friends or I have to be out with my friends. But on the days that we can, between 7 to 8, we have the same plate, stew, and food. And our kids see us do that.
Okay.
Like, I want them to see that. Like, I'm very intentional about
To
it.
see you together and comfortable together.
Yes, yes. And they also see us sometimes argue about stuff. And as long as the arguments are not, extreme, that I'm throwing a plate, I'm being verbally like vulgar and stuff like that. No, they can see us disagree. And then they will see us, oh, I'm sorry, I shouted. I'm sorry, I raised my voice. So they see that too, so that they know that, so you can have a misunderstanding and you can also repair. Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
That
very
is healthy.
intentional.
That's healthy because there's some, I think the traditional background for many people also was they never saw any disagreements.
Thank you.
If you're going to have a disagreement with your husband or your wife, in the bedroom. That's what you talk about it, right?
Yep.
But you're always,
I know.
nothing's wrong.
I
That's
know.
also not healthy.
I know, because
you don't teach them how to deal with conflict.
That's true. I've had ladies tell me, I want to grow up the same way I saw my dad and my mom. They never ever once had a misunderstanding.
It's impossible.
And I'm like, that is so unrealistic. I know. Of course they had arguments, but because you never witnessed them argue and repair, how are you going to relate? Yeah, so you're going to go out there looking for something that is impossible. The advice singers give women, still give women.
Still do, I think.
Still do, yeah. because these days I go for bridal showers, and some of the ladies are sharing their experiences, and they go like, hey, but Sharifah, why are you telling us ABCD? For me, my singer told me, you have to get a kapanado when you get into marriage.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's what your singer told you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so what
Setting
happened?
you up for failure.
And I'm like, so what happened to sitting with your partner and expressing your needs? What happened to that? Like, why are you getting a partner? Then don't get married in the first place.
And I think that's why these conversations around sex are so sensitive, because most people are like, okay, fine, I'm not going to get something good from this person. I'll find it somewhere else.
But then why are you getting married? But you see now they've set the precedent. The people before us have set that precedent of this is how a marriage should look like. This is marriage, okay? So they've handed that to us, and we're looking at it and we're like, this is it? Okay, I can do that. If he doesn't come back home, it's okay, Fumba. Go get medicine, drink some medicine, get some water, drink medicine so that it can be sweet for him. You know, you're doing all of this for a man who doesn't come home, who doesn't provide, who is abusive, who is sleeping around. But what you're trying to do is give him more of what he's already not appreciating.
Yes.
Right? So that's what we've been taught.
Yeah.
And I'm here to call it. Like, no, no. Like, if we cannot sit down and actually address these issues, that is not a marriage. So I know we've normalized that, but it doesn't mean it's okay. I know society has made it a norm, but it doesn't mean it's okay. So that's what I'm trying to do. I was at Can We Talk Get Together, and they were asking me the things that I want to talk about more, and I talked about divorce, sex, and mental health.
Okay.
Because in my opinion, those are the three things that have been a taboo, like growing up. Oh no, but yeah, Crystal. Oh my God. For me, the first time I could know what, they took me back. Like, how can you leave?
Really?
Go back.
They took you back.
I'm not the only one. I'm sure if you put up a Q&A right now and asked how many moms have actually taken their daughters back, you get like 100. So many, right? So I'm not the only one, and I want to normalize those conversations, of course, within the limits of the deen. And I spoke to a sheikh of mine, I'm like, is it wrong for me to actually come and empower women to live abusive relationships? And he's like, Islam is a religion of peace. Where is it written that you are supposed to subject your partner to abuse? The person that we follow, our model, the Prophet ﷺ, treated his wives with kindness. And he tells you that if you don't have kindness, you don't have faith. So for me, you don't give me that jazz. Like, I know my part of the deen, and as a person, I know what I want. So if you find out what you want, for everyone who's watching, you're going to realize that you will tolerate less. You'll start to tolerate really less. You're like, no, but I'm not okay with this. I know I've accepted it, but it doesn't mean I'm okay with it. So I need to do something about it. Set a boundary, yeah? Communicate your need and go like, no, I'm not okay with that. So most of the advice that our singers gave us were given to them also by their singers, and the singers before that, and they sing,
Just a cycle.
Exactly. So we need to break it. And like somebody said that the generational curses will not stop until we break it.
But some people would say, Sharifah, some people would say, but every person has flaws.
Right.
Right?
Right.
How do you navigate your partner's flaws?
Okay. Give me an example of what flaw. And I hope you don't say cheating, because that's not a flaw.
No. maybe they're just not very good at communication.
Yes.
For example, because we keep talking about how communication is one of the most important things.
Yes.
But some people just, they will communicate when something is really important.
Or not even.
Or not.
Yes. And you told me you read about attachment styles. So that's really good. So you can look at that maybe for a second, because there are some of us, let me use men as an example. Men have been raised to not express emotion.
Yes.
Men have been raised to not, man up. Like, why being a boy? And then there are those children who would come home and their parents are inconsistent in how they show their love. Like, today mommy is here, today she's not around. Dad is a deadbeat dad, he's here, he's not around. So children like that are going to have a problem attaching to any human being. So they are going to show up with that inconsistency in their relationships, and that's going to affect every other part of their relationship. Communication, for example. I'm not going to feel safe to communicate with you, because guess what? Growing up, I was not safe to communicate with my caregiver. I didn't know if she was going to respond to my needs or not. So I grew up keeping to myself. Yeah. So a child like that is going to have a problem in adulthood to actually express themselves, to communicate. Now that is a big flaw in a relationship.
Okay.
It is.
Another example is, I think, let's say, now we'll talk about a woman, let's say. Right. Many men say some of the struggles they have, maybe your woman is disorganized.
Oh.
She's just disorganized, maybe very messy in the home. You see? Right?
Okay, right. First of all, can we talk about it? Why are you like this? I don't know, growing up, everything was done for me by the maids. I never had to do anything. And now my husband doesn't want me to have a maid. I don't know how to navigate being a mother, a wife. It's too much for me. See, it's coming from somewhere, right? Okay, so how can we help? Can we get you help? Can your man afford help? Yes, I think we can. But then what about you as a human being? And I want to normalize hygiene topiks because I don't know if you're comfortable with me speaking up because people are not. But men are complaining.
Men are complaining about many things. I feel like, are people listening to men?
They're not, and that's why I'm trying to give them a voice when we poor men. I love men, I do. I'm trying to give them a voice. No, but seriously, I know women are also complaining because the other time I was talking about what men want us to know about sex, and the women were like, Sharifah, we also have our complaints, and I'm like, not today, not today. Yes, let's talk about the men, for example. But seriously, I had the lady who used to work with me used to tell me, hey, but Hajat, talk to this woman. A woman will come in here and you'll tell her, please go clean up in the bathroom. And she will go clean up in the bathroom, and then she will come for her bikini wax and she has poop. But she's from the bathroom, where there is a shut up, she can clean with water, there is toilet paper and everything. But she will come in and she still has
She's not
fecal
cleaned
matter down there.
yes.
Exactly. So you can imagine if that is your wife.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be intimate with her. And she's complaining, why don't you go down on me? Oh my God, you don't love me. Nah, yeah, honestly, how is it supposed to go down on you? Like, seriously, like everything that happens, at least for me, in my opinion, it's coming from somewhere. And if we can all sit down and be honest with one another and go like, okay, Krista, this is why I cannot do a BCD for you.
Yeah.
Oh, that is, okay, what can we do? That is marriage. You're with your friend.
Yeah.
But because we cannot be honest with each other, we end up abandoning that. And like, you know what? It has to do with her poop.
But a big part of that is parenting, because I remember sitting with a group of my male friends, and I asked them, because we were talking about hygiene for men, and I was like, all of you here have sons. Which one of you has sat your little boy down or shown him how to wash his bum properly?
No one.
You wash between
Do they?
the butt cheeks. No, so you're supposed to. You're
But they
supposed
don't.
to wash. But they say, and they were all quiet. I'm like, you see?
But thank you for
I'm
speaking
like,
for that
you
woman.
as grown men, you probably know this. But
That's
are you
true.
telling your sons these
No, they're
things?
not. But do they even know? Because women are also complaining about that. They're not.
Oh my
like,
God.
seriously, we are both
Missing
suffering.
things.
Yeah. So we are all suffering. And I feel like
Even
it's
if
like
you have a generous behind, please, you still need to wash properly.
we do. Like, honestly, we are all suffering. Men are suffering, women are suffering. So you guys, let's help each other. Yeah. Like, let's. I'm actually going to put up another video about the cleaning bit because it is actually not even a joke. People come in there and they're like, my sex life is miserable. Like, we are struggling. And where does the issue come from? Small things. Oh, Sharifah, tell her to clean up. But poor woman will go in the bathroom and take a bath, even, perfume, but then she'll come in and you cannot even go down there. Yeah, and same for the men.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the comments. Women are like, no, Sharifah, men smell down there. Like, they need to do something. They think not shaving is cool, It's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, no. But these are conversations we need to normalize, obviously. But like you said, because society doesn't accept it, we're not going to talk about them. And you will learn what you think you know because, where you grew up, you can imagine, people still think water is for Muslims. Yes, and that's a fact. They'll be like, oh, that Muslim thing you do of using water, it's not a Muslim thing, it's a hygiene. Yeah, right? Yeah, I know for us it's a must, but even the Christians need it. Yeah, so you can imagine, even adults right now don't know that water is for all of us.
Yes.
Yes, so we have a lot to talk about. And if I can use my page for that information, I think I'll do it.
I know now you're like, okay, what are her handles? You said some of the conversations that people are uncomfortable with, divorce, you said sex, mental health, right?
Yes.
But there's so much more.
A lot.
So, yes, we know Instagram, you're very active.
Yes.
Handle, everything.
Let's
Tell
Fix
everybody.
It. Yeah, my Instagram is Let's Fix It Counseling. My YouTube channel is Let's Fix It with Sharifah Namusisi. TikTok, Let's Fix It with Sharifah. And Twitter, Let's Fix It Counseling. Yeah, I think if you type Let's Fix It Counseling, yeah, you'll stumble on my account.
Okay, yes. And you said your office happens to be in the Bukoto area.
Yes, I'm in Bukoto, Keb's Supermarket building, 3rd floor. Yes, so and I work online too, so for those who can come. Yes,
because I found it interesting. You said some people are like, no one should know that I'm talking to you.
Oh, yes, and actually I do meet people in their homes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some celebs. Huh? Yeah. And they go like, hell no, I'm not coming there. What if they see me? So I do home visits. Of course, it's an extra charge, but I do that. Like, I just want my clients to be comfortable.
Of course.
Yes, so I'll come where you are. I'll do online if you want. If you don't want me to see you, we can do online without faces. Yeah, so you just, because the rapport is very important.
Yes.
If someone is not comfortable to tell you their issue, then you can have a relationship.
No.
Yeah, we need a
You can't
good.
even help them then.
True, you can't. Yeah, so yeah, I do all of that.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So last question as we wrap up.
Yep.
What has been one of the most challenging things for you as a therapist in our society? And how can we help you as a therapist or our therapist to help us better?
I feel like society wants me to mold into what they want me to be,
Okay.
even as a therapist. Number one, mental health is not normalized yet, and I see everyone pushing it, many therapists coming out now, and it's amazing. But me personally, I don't know if it's my approach, I don't know if it's how I've chosen to do my thing, but you feel like they want you to tell them what they want to hear.
Okay.
Yes, and that is a problem for me. Like, I will come out with a topic and people will be anywhere telling you, but why are you telling people that? Why? And that for me has been a challenge because people are not free to be authentic. They're not authentic themselves. They don't want you to do that. They kind of project that on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they kind of find you either you threaten them or something, or you talk about things that rub them the wrong way. So they kind of don't want you to do that. And I'm a human being. Sometimes you go like, oh, you know what, maybe I shouldn't put out this video. And there's some videos I've sat on for like 2 months now. You're like, nah, Malako, because I'm fighting this battle alone. And obviously my husband, where you go, and he goes like, baby, why you should delete that video? Woman doesn't like drama. And I'm like, no, I've already put it out there. So honestly, for me, that is a challenge because I feel like people just don't want you to come out and speak of things they should hear.
Yeah.
They want you to tell them what they want to hear, and that is still going to be a problem. I know so many things have been normalized, and because I'm out there telling them, I know you're used to that, but it's not normal. So for me, that's a problem. People don't want to accept the truth.
Okay.
Yes. But it doesn't mean I'm going to allow. No, it doesn't. I'll still do what I have to do. Yeah, and those who can learn, and those who don't want can unfollow.
Exactly.
No, that's also okay. There's also that option. Yes.
So that's part of the process, facing a lot of uncomfortable truths and also accepting that you have made so many mistakes. That's a big part of it.
That's true.
You realizing I have this problem.
That's
I
true.
need to change. And my therapist is not going to change.
No.
Do all the work I have to do my work too.
No. You walk. I can walk this journey with you, but at the end, like I said, it's every man for themselves. I can only do so much as your therapist, right? I can guide you, I can advise, I can do everything, but I cannot tell you what to do, and I cannot choose for you.
That's important.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why at the end, you come to me. I'm like, so now what? What? You've done your homework. Now what? Do you want to continue like this? Because you've seen it's not bringing any benefit. Do you want to continue? No. Yes. Every problem we're facing starts from childhood.
Yes, yes.
Yes. So as let's fix it, I want to do something for the children now. Like, if we want to have better human beings, we need to start from down here. Yeah. So I want to start going to schools. We're already going to the communities with my NGO that I'm with, Sham Cares. We go to communities, we talk to moms.
Sham Cares? How can we find out more?
Yeah, Sham Cares Foundation. It's an NGO that helps empower women, either youth, young girls, boys, orphans. Yeah, so we do that. Every time we go to donate, we have a drive on Sunday. We talk to women, yeah, and you'll be surprised. Banange, Christo, women are going through a lot, men are going through a lot. So we do that. And also there is Educate an Orphan. I'm the PR manager for Educate an Orphan Uganda.
Okay.
I'm also a therapist there now because we deal with orphans. So obviously they're traumatized, they're going through a lot. So I also do the work there.
That's
so
Educate an Orphan Uganda?
Yes, there is Educate an Orphan Uganda. We pay 5,000 a month, every member. We have 50 children in Educate an Orphan. We help keep them in school. Yeah, but so I realized that if I can do that for the NGOs, I can do more. Like if I went to schools and talked to children, give them realistic information. Because I realized children are out there. I was on radio the other day.
Not the Mills and Boone. And
Thank
let's
you.
leave romance novels, but for many people that's way past. But also not the TikTok.
Thank you. I'm actually glad you brought that as an example because that's what we knew in school. Like even a career guidance, they're telling you things that are unrealistic, right? So I want to actually give them unconventional advice, like reality. I want to talk to them because I can relate.
Yeah.
I've been there, right? Yeah, I've been through a lot. Yeah. So I can relate. So I really want to do that for the children. I'm already doing it with the NGOs, but now I want to do it as Let's Fix It as well. Yeah. So if you can help me there, please, I'll be glad because I really want to do it. I have a passion for it. I want to help.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. Well, you know how to get in touch with her.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
For coming.
You're
It was
welcome.
lovely to have you.
It was nice. Thank you for making me
You
comfortable.
said that you have a plug
Yes,
for the
I
shades.
do. Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm just like, oh, I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Oh, that's so nice. Is
And
that
it's-
a part of your business as well?
Yes, it's another business. It's Sunglasses Shades Shop. It's on Instagram.
Sunglasses Shade Shop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm there with a lot of options, so you can. I'm the plug.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you can find me there.
Well, lovely having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you very much for having me.